Yes. Welcome to Cyber Safety Net. Stay safe online, episode 194. How to protect yourself from a DDoS attack. How to protect yourself for a distributed denial of service attack. Now, before you say, Mark, man, my company's too small. I don't have to worry about protecting myself. I beg to differ. My name is Mark Anthony Germanos. I have important information for you. Let me share my PowerPoint. DDoS, or distributed denial of service attacks, happen every day. In fact, one of the more famous ones was North Korea attacking SONY Pictures a few years back. What happened was North Korea was the attacker, or North Korea hired an attacker. There's still some gray area because North Korea does not disclose as well as they should. Then the attacker went to handlers, which were computers that control others. Sometimes we call this computers residing in a command control center, or a CCS. And then these launched an attack on the victim, SONY Pictures. SONY Pictures was a big name, and this attack was so successful that the attacker was able to use their command control computers to activate a botnet to attack the victim, SONY Pictures, and get financial info, personal info, and unreleased movies. Today's presentation is sponsored by my fourth book, How Hacks Happen. In How Hacks Happen, there are two author personas. There's me, Mark, the good guy, who wants to protect you because I'm the good guy. And there's Brad Cracker, the bad guy who wants to rip you off. Brad says, hey, man, I like hacking. Hacking is easy, and I like the easy money. And that is Brad Cracker's worldview. Back in episode 102, I introduced the CIA triad, or the confidentiality, integrity, availability triad. Since we're talking about distributed denial of service, making it so your computers, your website, your remote access, your email, whatever the target is, are not available, I think we're in the availability domain today. Let's talk about denial of service, and I'm sure you've seen this happen. I have a graphic up here of an innocent receptionist who has to listen to somebody talk and talk and talk. She's trying to do her work, but this other person is talking and talking and talking. Our poor innocent receptionist is not able to do her work. This would be denial of service, because if somebody calls or if somebody else walks in the door, they're not going to get served promptly because of this person, the talker. This is a denial of service. Let's go one step further and talk about distributed denial of service, which means that it comes from multiple sources. You thought one person talking was bad? Imagine 4 or 8 or 12 all talking at the same time. The poor, innocent receptionist would not be able to answer the phone, would not be able to help other people that walk in the door, would not be able to get things done because of this or these people who just keep talking and talking and talking. This would be your distributed denial of service. And it happens in the computer world too. I've seen situations where a botnet launched an attack on a workstation. But when I look at the firewall logs, I see that traffic comes from different IP addresses or internet protocol addresses that I was able to trace to different parts of the world. Computers in these different parts participate in a botnet. Remember, I was talking about botnets back up here. They are interspersed throughout the world. And how do you get your computer to join a botnet? Well, a good, easy way is click a link you're not supposed to click and then install some malware or remote access Trojan. That's why we keep telling people do not click links without knowing for sure that the link is honest. Moving forward, people in these countries clicked links they should not have clicked, and their computers participate in a botnet. It's easy to avoid participating in a botnet, but people who wake up at 5 a.m. and read email and click links without thinking find out after the fact that they are participating in a botnet. If you realize that you are the target or the victim of a botnet, here's how you can respond. You can confirm that there really is an attack on you. You can contact your ISP, Comcast, Google, AT&T, whomever. You can understand the scope. Is your web server being attacked? Or is it your web server and email server? Or is it your remote access? Understand the scope. You also mitigate. If it's just your web server, then there are steps you can do to mitigate the attack. One of the obvious ones would be block traffic from the known attackers. Or maybe I should say, block traffic from the hosts in the botnet that is currently attacking you. Also, monitor other assets. Just because your web server currently is the only target, you may have other targets, or maybe remote access to other servers and other offices that could end up being targets. Benjamin Franklin said, an ounce of prevention is a pound of cure. So let's talk about preventing these or reducing the likelihood that you will be a target of a botnet attack. Number one is you can identify your critical assets. Then, of course, give them more protection. Number two, understand how your users connect. Are they using remote desktop or are they using some other remote access feature like a VPN? Number three, enroll in a DDoS protection service. There are services out there that will let you channel all your inbound traffic through their servers. They will sanitize it, which means they will intentionally drop the traffic that comes from botnets and forward the legitimate traffic to your web servers. They call that sanitizing the traffic. You can understand service provider agreements. If you have Comcast, AT&T, Google, whomever, you can find out what they're doing to reduce the amount of botnet traffic on their network. And that's understand your defenses. Do you have a $99 firewall from Best Buy, or do you have a business class firewall and you're not using all the features on it, which would include IDS, intrusion detection service, or IPS, intrusion prevention service? You got to know how strong your defenses are. Something that I keep finding, especially with small offices, is remote desktop. That's where people make a computer available on the internet. The upside is that it's convenient for someone to get remote access. The downside is hackers will find port 3389 is open and start hacking away at it. In this screen capture, I have the home user running Windows 10, and they're connecting to a computer at work running Windows 11. I can tell this one is Windows 11 because it's a little more elegant and the toolbar icons are in the middle. If this machine is available on the internet because somebody opened port 3389 on a router or firewall, then this machine, in just a matter of time, maybe a few minutes or a few hours, will start receiving login attempts from random computers that are participating in a botnet. And the attacker believes that he will eventually stumble across a username and password that will work and let him get access to this machine. And then he will go to work figuring out what assets he can see, harvest, steal, and then charge a ransom for to make sure that these secrets do not end up on the dark web. You know what? I am done. I know your time is valuable. I know there are other places you could have been, but you chose to be here. You chose to listen to me, Mark Anthony Germanos, tell you that you need to protect yourself from botnets. Do not become a statistic. Instead, protect yourself because you, no matter how small your organization, has information that is valuable to an attacker. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Mark Anthony Germanos. Have a good day.